All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Naresh Margo. The headlines. Centre advises people to follow COVID-appropriate behaviour and get vaccinated amid surge in cases abroad, says prepared to manage any situation. WHO expresses concern over evolving coronavirus situation in China. India's maiden human space flight Gaganyaan targeted to be launched in fourth quarter of 2024. Government asks airport operators to ensure additional capacity for hassle-free travel. Israeli Prime Minister-designate Benjamin Netanyahu secures a deal to form new government. And in cricket, second and final test between India and Bangladesh to begin in Dhaka this morning. Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has urged people to follow COVID-appropriate behavior and get vaccinated against COVID amid the rising coronavirus cases abroad. He said that the government is prepared to manage any situation. Dr. Mandavia said this while chairing a high-level meeting yesterday to review the COVID-19 situation in the country. He also reviewed the preparedness of the public health system for surveillance, containment and management of the COVID-19 situation. The health minister noted the importance of being prepared and remaining alert in view of the upcoming festive season. Meanwhile, Niti Aayog member Health Dr. V.K. Paul has appealed to people to take the jab and wear masks in crowded places.
हम अपील करेंगे कि प्रिकॉशन डोज जिसको नहीं लगी है वो ले लीजिए। ये भारत की पेंडेमिक रिस्पांस का एक पिलर है, पॉलिसी है। सीनियर सिटीजन क्योंकि वल्नरेबल हैं और बीमारी वाले व्यक्ति वल्नरेबल ज्यादा होते हैं, तो ये खासकर उनके लिए अपील है। इन सभी को प्रिकॉशन डोज जो है वो मैंडेटेड है। इसके अलावा भी जनरल प्रिकॉशंस लेनी है, जो कि कोविड अप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर की बात हम करते हैं।
The World Health Organization WHO has expressed concern over the evolving COVID-19 situation in China amid surge in cases in the country. In a weekly news conference yesterday, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said that in order to make a comprehensive risk assessment of the situation, WHO needs more detailed information on disease severity and hospital admissions, among others. He once again called on China to share the data requested by the global health body to better understand the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We continue to call on China to share the data and conduct the studies we have requested and which we continue to request. As I have said many times before, all hypotheses about the origins of this pandemic remain on the table. At the same time, WHO is very concerned over the evolving situation in China, with increasing reports of severe disease.
The government has said the country's maiden human space flight mission Gaganyaan is targeted to be launched in the fourth quarter of 2024. This was stated by Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh in a written reply in the Lok Sabha. He said in view of the paramount importance of crew safety, 2 uncrewed flights are scheduled before the final human space flight H1 mission to demonstrate the performance of crew escape system and parachute-based deceleration system for different flight conditions. In Gujarat, Ambassador of Japan to India Hiroshi F. Suzuki, along with Managing Director of National High-Speed Rail Corridor Limited, Rajendra Prasad, visited the under-construction Surat High-Speed Railway Station yesterday. Mr. Hiroshi Suzuki appreciated the ongoing construction work being done on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad High-Speed Corridor in Gujarat. Mr. Prasad said that 98.87% land has been acquired in Gujarat for the project. He said the first trial of the bullet train will be held on the Surat-Billimora corridor by June 2026. The government has asked the airport operators to install additional capacity and redesign their systems to facilitate a hassle-free travel for air passengers during the peak hours. The directions were given during the meeting conducted by Civil Aviation Secretary Rajiv Bansal yesterday. It was called to take stock of the measures taken at Bengaluru and Mumbai airports for decongestion during peak hours. The meeting was attended by the airport operators of Bengaluru, Mumbai and other senior officials from the Directorate General of Civil Aviation and Bureau of Civil Aviation Security. Airport operators were advised to give daily report on several aspects of their operations. The Civil Aviation Ministry said, with the continuous monitoring of the situation and augmentation of capacity, the situation is improved and is likely to ease further in coming days. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has appealed to the states to form district-level ENCODE committees to fight the menace of drug abuse at the ground level. Replying to a short-duration discussion in the Lok Sabha on drug abuse and steps taken by the government, Mr. Shah said that the centre has prepared a survey and information input-based drug network chart mapping of 472 districts in the country. He said only 32% of districts have formed the committee so far. The Home Minister noted that drug crime has no borders and profits were being used to promote terrorism. He asserted that India has a zero-tolerance policy towards the issue of drugs.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के वर्ष में मोदी जी ने नशा मुक्त भारत का संकल्प समग्र देश के सामने रखा है और जब से सरकार बनी तब से गंभीरता पूर्वक इस दिशा में ढेर सारी कार्यवाही भी हुई। मैं सदन को फिर से एक बार आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार की ड्रग के कारोबार पर और उसके मुनाफे से आतंकवाद के वित्त पोषण पर जीरो टॉलरेंस की नीति है।
Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has said that whosoever would be found part of the terror ecosystem will face action as per the law. He said it was the prime duty of police and security agencies to trace such people. Addressing a press conference in Jammu yesterday, Mr. Sinha said that the Union Territory Administration and Centre will take calls on investments and other issues.
जम्मू कश्मीर में कौन रहेगा कौन नहीं रहेगा, कौन ऑफिस खुलेगा कौन ऑफिस नहीं खुलेगा, इसका फैसला जम्मू कश्मीर प्रशासन और भारत सरकार करेगा। किसी दूसरे के इशारे पर ये काम नहीं होने वाले, वो दिन लग गए, ये ध्यान में रखने की जरूरत है।
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Under the aegis of our year-ender series, the News Services Division of All India Radio brings an exclusive interview with Mr. Purushottam Rupala, Minister of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, on exponential growth and flagship schemes in the fisheries sector. Mr. Rupala shared with us how the creation of the Fisheries Ministry and allocation of a huge budget under the Matsya Sampada Yojana is working as a booster for Blue Revolution. The full interview can be heard on FM Gold channel from 7:10 p.m. onwards in Surkhiyon mein and from 9:15 p.m. onwards in Spotlight tonight. The interview will also be available on our website newsonair.gov.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. In Manipur, 7 students lost their lives and over 40 others injured after a school bus overturned in Noni district yesterday. The mishap occurred on Old Kachar Road near the Longsai area of the mountainous district. Among the injured, 10 are in a critical condition. The students of Thambalnu Higher Secondary School went on an annual school study tour to Khopum in Noni district. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have expressed deep anguish over the death of students. Mr. Modi also announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each to the next of kin of deceased and 50,000 rupees to those injured in the accident from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. Israeli Prime Minister-designate Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he has secured a deal to form a new government after weeks of tough negotiations with coalition partners. He informed President Isaac Herzog last night that he has managed to form a government. Minutes before a midnight deadline to form a coalition set by the President, Mr. Netanyahu announced through Twitter that he was able to establish a government. Mr. Netanyahu's conservative Likud and like-minded religious nationalist parties won 64 of Parliament's 120 seats, but formation of the government was held up over issues ranging from planning authority in the West Bank to ministerial control over the police. The new government must take office within a week. Mr. Netanyahu, who returns to power after serving a record 15 years in top office, is on trial for corruption charges that he denies. The United States has announced that it would provide its key Patriot missile defense system to Ukraine. The Patriot missile system can be used as a shield against short-range ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and incoming jets. This will be the first ever handover of such a defense system to Ukraine and strengthen the Ukrainian defense. The White House stated that the Patriot missile system would be part of another $1.85 billion aid to Ukraine. The aid has been announced at a time when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is visiting Washington to strengthen the military ties between the two countries. The roughly 8-hour visit of the Ukrainian president to Washington included an Oval Office meeting with President Joe Biden and a joint news conference at the White House. Cold wave continues to grip North India today as dense fog engulfs the Indo-Gangetic plains, including Delhi, Haryana and Punjab. According to the India Meteorological Department, cold wave and dense fog conditions are likely to continue in most parts of Punjab, Himachal, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. It said cold wave to severe cold wave conditions are likely to continue at isolated places in Haryana, while dense fog is also expected at most places in the state over the next 3 to 4 days. In cricket, the second and final test match between India and Bangladesh will begin at the Sher-e-Bangla National Stadium in Dhaka this morning. The match will start at 9 a.m. India time. The KL Rahul-led Indian side leads the two-match test series 1-0 after winning the opening game by 188 runs. The first match saw centuries by Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara. Kuldeep Yadav was adjudged the player of the match for his impressive bowling performance as he took 8 wickets. The win handed Team India the boost they needed to stay in the World Test Championship contention. Another win will put India in a better position in the WTC rankings and can increase their chances to make it to the finals. Injured India captain Rohit Sharma has been ruled out of the second test. After the tour of Bangladesh, India will be kick-starting their home season against Sri Lanka from the 3rd of next month. And now for a look at today's newspapers. It's over to you, Sarabjit.
Thank you, Naresh. The resurgence of COVID in certain countries, including China, has been covered prominently on the front pages of newspapers this morning. Focus back on screening at airport, mask and booster dose, writes the Times of India. Mandavia asks officials to strengthen surveillance system across country, notes the statesman. Hindustan Times quotes RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das as saying that the next financial crisis could come from private cryptocurrencies. For the 5th consecutive time in the current year, some medicines are said to be cheaper after the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority capped prices of 127 drugs, reports the Times of India. Under the headline, Gadkari lays down roadmap for Delhi's odious landmarks, the Pioneer reports that the inert waste at the 3 landfill sites in Delhi will be used for road construction. No plan to reduce age of consent for sex from 18, says Centre, says the Times of India. Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, has said he will resign as the social media giant's CEO as soon as he finds someone foolish enough to take the job, writes the Asian Age. And finally, passengers may soon be able to zip through airport security checks without having to lay out laptops, phones and chargers in separate trays, as the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security has proposed installing CT scanners to provide a 3-dimensional view of the objects in hand baggage, says the Pioneer. And with that, it's back to you, Naresh.
Thank you, Sarabjit. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre advises people to follow COVID-appropriate behaviour and get vaccinated amid surge in cases abroad. Says prepared to manage any situation. WHO expresses concern over evolving coronavirus situation in China. India's maiden human space flight Gaganyaan targeted to be launched in 4th quarter of 2024. Government asks airport operators to ensure additional capacity for hassle-free travel. Israeli Prime Minister-designate Benjamin Netanyahu secures a deal to form new government. And in cricket, second and final test between India and Bangladesh to begin in Dhaka this morning. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and on News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.